Hey everyone, I'm back with another review of a film by none other than Quentin Tarantino. Today I'm going to be reviewing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. To start things off, I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. After I was done watching this movie today, I was kind of taken back and thinking about what I said in my first couple reviews. And I don't know what it is about this movie that from my Quentin Tarantino films, I think it's my new favorite. I know Inglourious Bastards, I said in the review, was my favorite. I don't know what it is about this movie that it just encapsulates me. I don't know if that's the right word. I think it was in the Rise of Skywalker review. I was just like, the more I feel like I watch it, the more I love it. I remember watching this in the theaters with my girlfriend, and we both loved it. I don't know what it was about watching this again that it just, this is only the second time I've seen it. I don't know what it was though, but it's like something you can fall in love with again. And it's been about 7 or 8 months, I think, since I saw it last, if not longer. And it was like watching it for the first time again, falling in love with the characters, with the movie. I don't know what it was. It was just just I don't know. I don't have words to describe it. Just watching it again. I remember when the hype was being built up for this movie last summer and it came out, and it's just a great Tarantino film. I know a lot of people may not rank it higher than maybe like top five on their list. He has some great movies under his belt. You know, a lot of people will argue that he has not made a bad film, but this is definitely, I think, my new number one favorite, and I've only seen it twice. I'd hate to even say it's tied with Inglourious Basterds as number one. I don't know what it is. I can't describe it. I just love this movie. The movie revolves mostly around a fading star named Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and his stunt double Cliff Booth, who is played by Brad Pitt. You know, Brad Pitt won a Best Supporting Oscar for his role in this movie, and I think it's well deserved. Watching this for the second time, like I said about the movie, I fell in love with the movie, but I feel like I fell more in love with Brad Pitt's portrayal of this character because every moment he was on screen, you know, just with somebody, or just even there's a couple times where he's just by himself and it's so like invigorating. I don't know if that's the word, but it's you're just drawn to his character, and there's only a couple characters that I feel like I've ever been drawn to like that. The movie also follows Sharon Tate, played by Margot Robbie, in this movie, and I think for the amount of time that we actually see her on screen, she does a very good job. I know a lot of the her actual time on screen, she's not really interacting with anyone, and when she is, it's not really any dialogue going on. There's a scene where her and Roman Polanski are driving to the Playboy Mansion, but there's no actual dialogue going on. And they get to the party and just kind of shows her dancing. And later on in the film, there's she goes to the movie theater by herself. You know, she has a day out kind of by herself, and she interacts with um, the person at the ticket booth and the usher. But other than that, I wouldn't say she really has too much to do in the movie. I know it's kind of hard to base that character like what she would have done in real life because I feel like it's just a hard portrayal. I don't know if those actual things happen, like that she went to the movie theater by herself, that not that day, but like that it just happened. But this is one of Tarantino's movies where he likes to twist the ending based off of history, just like Inglourious Basterds, the way that movie ends, and how the way it conflicts with actual history. One of my favorite scenes of this movie is when Leonardo DiCaprio is sitting on set outside the saloon talking to the little girl, and he understands that he's a washed up actor, and you know his glory days are behind him. There's no real big thing for him to do anymore, and he's talking to the girl. She asks what he's reading, and I don't know if that's actually what he reads, but he makes it up about himself, about someone who's washed up at a point in their life where They don't know what to do pretty much. That's my favorite scene because that's Tarantino at his best. You know, put two characters together and just let them talk. It's crazy to me because you have Leonardo DiCaprio, 40-plus-year-old man, talking to in the movie. She says she's 8, I think. This little girl's really getting into Rick Dalton's, like, she's pulling on his heartstrings a little bit, and I feel like she kind of awakens the good actor inside of him because he goes on later right after the scene to he has one of his scenes and he feels like he messes it up. He has a whole freak out inside of his trailer because he feels like he can no longer act, and he's blaming it on alcohol, and because he flubbed his lines. He just does not feel like a good actor anymore, and because of this, like that conversation with the girl and him flubbing his lines, he goes on and gives like a great scene the next time they reshoot, and the little girl tells him, that's the best acting I've ever seen, and he kind of is like, yes, I still got it, and I feel like that whole conversation, had that not happened between him and the girl, then he would have gotten to be able to pull that great scene out of himself. But that goes all, that's all. That scene alone is just Tarantino's dialogue. Something that's I don't want to say it's a theme, but it's something that reoccurs a couple times throughout the movie. Is I don't want to say it's Tarantino's. I don't want to say he has hate for hippies because it's not true. Well, at least I don't think it's true. But because of the time that it's set in and the characters who the characters are, they're very straight edge guys. I don't want to say straight edge, but they're very normal. They're not like down with the whole hippie movement. I think Tarantino writes this in perfectly into his characters and just the way their interactions with them are. Rick Dalton does not like hippies at all, and Cliff Booth, he picks up the hippie chick, and they go to Spawn Ranch, and that's like the hub of that group of hippies, and that's a place that he used to make movies, so he's kind of concerned that the guy George is being taken advantage of, so he tries to go and make sure that he's all right, that he's not dead. Something that I like about this scene specifically is you go into the scene and you have Cliff Booth thinking that, like, man, they either killed George or they got him locked up, they're torturing him, something, it's written that way to where the whole audience thinks it, and then, they let him in and he's alive. I didn't see that coming. I thought it would have been like maybe a setup when I first saw the movie because, their circle is tight. They don't really like outsiders. I feel like Tarantino's movies are always so great, and their pacing and his dialogue, and it just everything has a meaning, like everything that the characters are doing, where they're going, it all like ties together into the story. It's just something that I really have come to appreciate in especially Tarantino movies, but just I look for it in other films that I watch, just how things can, from the beginning of the movie, can come full circle, and I feel like Quentin Tarantino has always done that. Like any kind of thing is it's just good writing. I don't have any other way to explain it, and it's not a bunch of MacGuffins. It's not thrown in there just to advance the plot or anything. So I really like that about Tarantino, especially because I feel like everything either has a place in the movie or it doesn't. It's not like here's something that could do something or whatever, and it's not. So towards the end of the movie, when Rick and Cliff are coming back from Italy from their, I think, 6 or 8 months in Italy, I think it's 6. They just shot, I think, 4 movies, and they're coming home. Rick has his new wife, his Italian wife, and then you just feel the climax coming of the movie because all right, they get back, they go out, have drinks. It shows Sharon Tate's character going out. She's pregnant, and for anybody who knows anything about the kind of history of the actual murders. We know she was pregnant when she died. She was with her group of friends in the house. And so you have all this culmination of they're going out to eat and she's pregnant, and it's like they go back home and it shows the time progressing, and you just know like what's going to happen. Like, is Tarantino going to just straight history it, or is he going to change it? And how is it going to happen? When I watched this for the first time, that Cliff or Rick or both of them were going to have to run up to the house or something, but the way it just gets flipped onto them is just, it's classic. It makes for such a great scene. You have the Manson family driving up. You know, they're checking out the house, Sharon Tate's house, but then you have their car's really loud, and Rick goes outside and tells them to get the hell away because they're in a private area, and so he pisses them off, and then they go park the car at the bottom of the hill. They're like, let's kill them because they're the ones who inspired us to be, I don't want to say killers, but like to be this way. Just how like people try and blame stuff on video games. The family's going back up. One of them forgets something in her car. She takes off with the car, and then like the whole culmination of this movie is coming. And I just love this scene with the Manson family and Rick and Cliff. I think it's just some of the most funniest shit I've ever seen. It's not that it's gory like classic Tarantino movies, but it's brutal. It's just brutal. This guy, like the one guy in the group, gets his leg bit multiple times by the dog, by Brandy, and then bites him on his nuts. I don't even know how he dies. I think Cliff punches him so many times, and then the one chick is the redhead chick. She's getting her head slammed. I think it's her. The one chick's getting her head smashed into everything, the phone, the wall, to the mantle by the fireplace, like everything you can imagine. It's so brutal. And then that's when you get that classic Tarantino gore with the blood and everything. And it's just such a brutal scene. And the brunette chick she smashes through the window into the pool and freaks Rick out. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And he gets his flamethrower and just lights her up. Oh man, I was laughing the second time watching it just because it's so brutal. It's like so over the top, but it's hilarious. All while like Rick is like high off his ass on acid because he smoked his acid cigarette he bought off a hippie chick. But oh my god, I don't know if like the acid trip just makes it like so much funnier because Rick's high off his ass and he's just beating the shit out of these 2 3 people. And oh man, that scene is that's probably my favorite Quentin Tarantino scene. It's a sad ending because that's not how it happens. It's not what happened. History still played out the way it did, and it's a bittersweet ending because you have the Manson family murderers. They all die, and then there's a really sweet moment when Rick is outside and he starts talking to Sharon Tate's friend, and then he walks up the driveway with them, and the movie ends. Credits roll. It's just, it's such like you wish that was the ending, and that's why this movie is called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it's a fairy tale of what could have been. I feel like it doesn't hit me emotionally, but it just makes you wish like why couldn't it have been this way? Not necessarily the way the people died, but no Sharon Tate dying and none of her friends dying. Like why couldn't it have been like that? Thank you guys for watching this. Give it a thumbs up, comment any movies I should watch next, review, talk about, whatever you want to call these. I just like to talk about them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. But it doesn't advance the plot. Ooh. But that's like my fifth